Have you ever experienced this? You are driving home after a long day. The road is familiar, the same turns you have taken hundreds of times. The music is playing quietly in the background. Your mind is somewhere else. And then suddenly, a memory appears. Not something important, not something you were trying to remember, something from years ago. A conversation, a mistake, a moment when you wish you had said something differently. You didn't search for this memory. You didn't ask your brain to bring it back. But somehow, your mind decided this matters. But this creates a strange question. Your brain forgets thousands of things every day. Names, small conversations, where you placed something 5 minutes ago. Tiny details disappear constantly. Yet one random moment from years ago survives. Why? Why does the brain choose? Remember this. While allowing everything else to disappear, the answer reveals something fascinating. Your brain is not designed to remember everything. It is designed to decide what deserves attention. Most people imagine the brain like a camera. A camera records whatever is in front of it, but your brain works differently. Your brain is constantly receiving more information than it could ever process. Every sound, every movement, every face, every change in your environment. If all of this reached your conscious mind, you would be overwhelmed. So the brain does something remarkable. It edits reality before you experience it. It asks, what matters? What should I notice? What can I ignore? Right now, while you are listening to this, your brain is ignoring countless things. The feeling of your clothes against your skin, the sounds around you, objects in your peripheral vision, background noise. Not because those things are absent, because your brain has already decided they do not need attention right now. This ability is one of the reasons humans can function, but it creates the first mystery. If the brain is so good at filtering, why do some thoughts escape the filter? Why do some memories, worries, and questions keep returning? Imagine yourself standing in a crowded room. People are talking everywhere. Hundreds of voices, hundreds of conversations. Most of them disappear into the background. You are not consciously choosing to ignore them. Your brain is doing it automatically. But then, someone across the room says your name. Instantly, you notice. Your attention shifts. The conversation you were not listening to suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. How did your brain find one specific word among all that noise? Scientists call this the cocktail party effect. It reveals something important about the brain. Your brain is not simply receiving information, it is constantly ranking information. It is asking, does this matter? Could this be important? Should I bring this into awareness? Most information gets quietly filtered away, but some signals break through. Your name, a possible danger, something emotionally meaningful, something connected to you. The brain is always deciding what gets louder. This filtering system keeps us alive. It helps us focus. It helps us navigate the world. But there is a hidden problem. The brain does not only filter things from the outside world, it also filters your own thoughts. And sometimes, a thought becomes important enough that the brain refuses to let it go. A conversation that feels unresolved, a decision that feels incomplete, a question without an answer. The brain keeps returning to it. Why? Because the brain has a strange relationship with unfinished stories. Think about a story you are reading. You reach the most important moment, and suddenly the page disappears. You would probably keep wondering, what happens next? The brain works in a similar way. It dislikes incomplete patterns. Psychologist Zeigarnik discovered this almost a century ago. She noticed something unusual about restaurant waiters. They could remember complicated, unpaid orders with surprising accuracy. But once the customer paid, those details quickly disappeared. The unfinished order stayed active. The completed one was released. The brain was not trying to remember everything. It was trying to finish what was still open. For our ancestors, this system made sense. An unfinished problem could mean danger. A forgotten detail could have consequences. The brain learned, keep this active until it is resolved. But today, our lives are filled with unfinished loops. Unread messages, decisions, deadlines, conversations, ideas, questions. The brain is still using an ancient system inside a world that never stops creating new things to think about. But this still leaves us with another mystery. Why do some people seem to have more thoughts than others? Why do some minds constantly connect ideas, analyze possibilities, and search for patterns? Why does one simple thought sometimes become 10 more? To understand that, we need to look at the brain's greatest creative machine, the part responsible for imagination, discovery, and sometimes overthinking. Have you ever noticed something strange? Two people can experience the exact same moment, but walk away with completely different thoughts. A person hears a simple comment. For one person, it disappears immediately. For another, it creates questions. Why did they say it that way? What did they really mean? Does this connect to something else? The difference is not that one person is thinking and the other is not. The difference is how many connections the brain creates. The brain is not just a storage device. It is a prediction machine. Every moment, it is trying to understand the world. What is happening? What might happen next? What does this remind me of? It compares the present moment with everything it has experienced before. A face, a sound, a sentence, a situation. The brain searches through its entire library, looking for patterns. This ability is one of the reasons humans are creative. It allows us to see possibilities that do not yet exist. This ability has helped humans create incredible things: scientific discoveries, stories, music, technology. Almost every invention begins with the same question: what if? But the brain does not have a separate mode for useful connections and useless ones. The same system that helps someone solve a difficult problem can also analyze a simple conversation for hours. The same imagination that creates new ideas can create endless possibilities. The strength and the struggle come from the same source. Scientists discovered something fascinating about the brain. When you are not focused on a specific task, when you are walking, waiting, or lying in bed, a network of brain regions becomes active. It is called the default mode network. This system helps you remember the past, imagine the future, understand yourself, and connect ideas. It is the reason solutions sometimes appear when you stop trying to solve a problem. You take a walk, and suddenly the answer arrives. You wake up, and an idea feels clear. Your brain was working quietly in the background. But this same system has another side. The brain that can imagine tomorrow can also replay yesterday. The conversation you wish you handled differently. The decision you keep questioning. The possibility you cannot stop exploring. The brain is doing what it was designed to do: searching, connecting, predicting. The problem is not that the system exists. The problem is that sometimes it does not know when to lower the volume. So maybe the problem was never, why do I think too much? Maybe the better question is, why does my brain struggle to decide what deserves my attention? Because the goal is not to silence the mind. A silent brain is not necessarily a better brain. The goal is to build a better filter. For a long time, people have asked the wrong question. How do I stop overthinking? But thinking was never the enemy. The same mind that keeps you awake at night is the same mind that allows you to solve problems, imagine possibilities, and create new ideas. The goal is not to remove thoughts. The goal is to stop every thought from demanding the same amount of attention. A brain without a volume knob does not need silence. It needs control. Let's check for some of the recommended solutions. The first way to help the brain filter is to stop forcing it to hold everything. Your brain is excellent at creating thoughts, but it is not designed to store every unfinished thought forever. This is why writing things down works. A notebook, a simple list, a place outside your mind where unfinished ideas can wait. You are not ignoring the thought. You are telling your brain, I know this matters. It is safe. I will come back to it. The brain can finally release its grip. To open the second way is reducing unnecessary choices. More options feel like freedom, but too many options can become another source of noise. Psychologist Sheena Iyengar demonstrated this in a famous experiment. When shoppers saw many varieties of jam, they were interested, but when fewer choices were available, they were more likely to actually decide. The lesson is simple. The perfect choice is often impossible to find. Sometimes a good decision made quickly is better than an endless search for the best one. The third way is learning to control attention. This is why practices like meditation can help. Not because they remove thoughts. They do not. Thoughts will continue appearing. The skill is noticing. A thought has arrived, and then deciding, do I follow it? Attention is not about controlling what appears in your mind. It is about choosing what receives your energy. Remember the person driving home at the beginning? The memory that appeared without permission, the conversation, the mistake, the moment that came back years later. Maybe that memory was not your brain trying to annoy you. Maybe your brain was doing what it has always done, searching for meaning, looking for patterns, trying to protect you. The problem was never having thoughts. The problem was allowing every thought to become equally loud. Your brain is not a camera. It does not simply record reality. It is a living system constantly deciding what matters. What should I remember? What deserves my attention? The same system that creates overthinking also creates creativity. The same system that keeps searching also helps us discover. The goal was never to make the brain quiet. The goal was to learn how to adjust the volume, because the mind that learns what to ignore becomes much better at focusing on what truly matters. Maybe the reason your mind feels different was never because something was wrong with it. Maybe your brain simply notices more connections, holds more possibilities, searches for more patterns. That ability can sometimes feel exhausting, but it can also be the source of your curiosity, creativity, and understanding. The answer was never to think less. It was to learn what deserves your thinking, because a powerful mind is not one that hears everything. It is one that learns what is worth listening to. Closing question. So the next time your brain brings back an old conversation or keeps exploring a question you cannot let go of, ask yourself, is my mind creating unnecessary noise? Or is it trying to tell me something important? Because maybe the goal was never to turn the volume down completely. Maybe the goal was learning when to turn it up.